Hey guys, welcome back to Real Talk Cinema. Today, we dive into the haunting melodies and dystopian dreams of Odessa 2025, a musical journey through a toxic future where guitars are relics and songs ignite revolutions. Let's break it all down in 40 cinematic points, including exclusive behind the scenes insights. The story opens with a sweeping panorama of a once thriving planet, now marred by decay and dread. Where vibrant blue skies once stretched uninterrupted, a sickly, rust colored haze of plasma now clings to the horizon, smothering the sun's warmth. This alien substance, whose origins remain shrouded in rumor, has leached into the soil, tainting rivers and wells until they run with toxic sludge. Once proud cities lie in ruin, skyscrapers hollowed out by neglect, their glass facades shattered into jagged shards that glint like forgotten stars in the dim light. At street level, rubble choked avenues are interspersed with makeshift tents and barricades of corrugated metal, where ragtag survivors huddle in fear of both the elements and one another. Children with hollowed cheeks and eyes dulled by scarcity dart through the shadows of collapsed buildings, scavenging for scraps, while their parents keep watch, ever vigilant for roving gangs or the faintest hint of plasma laced storms that can sweep in without warning. In this grim tableau, breathing itself has become an act of courage. No one ventures outside without carefully sealing themselves in masks and gowned suits powered by battered respirators. They must cling to the thin hope that a few breaths might sustain them just long enough. The air crackles with a sense of foreboding, a hum of suffering that permeates every cracked brick and rusted pipe. Towns are governed by ruthless warlords who control precious reserves of clean water and air filters, demanding tribute in anything of value: metal scraps, precious seeds, or sometimes even family members forced into servitude. Rumors spread of mutated creatures, twisted, gaunt beasts born of plasma's insidious touch, prowling the outskirts of once vibrant farmland, their eyes glowing faintly in the twilight as they hunt for whatever living thing crosses their path. Yet among this cruel landscape of despair, there exists a fragile flicker of hope in the form of legend. An old song whispered from one survivor to the next, speaking of a girl named Odessa, who can restore life through melody. Her name has become a spark in the darkness, a promise that the world might yet break free from the chokehold of plasma's poison. Traders carry whispered tales of glimpses of her figure striding through ruined highways. They speak of her voice, said to hold the power to cleanse corrupted water and soothe plasma's wrath. Children draw her likeness in the soot on ruined walls, giving her wide, defiant eyes and a guitar slung across her back, imagining a savior who stands against the suffocating gloom. As this rumor of Odessa grows, it captures the imagination of a desperate populace and ignites small flames of resistance within heartbroken communities yearning for something, anything resembling salvation. In a world reeling from ruin, her journey is destined to become more than just a quest for a musical heirloom. It is the fragile promise that even amid absolute poisoned ruin, humanity might yet find a way to breathe free again. Amid the wastelands of a world blanketed by plasma's silent wrath, there emerges a figure of unlikely strength and unwavering resolve, Odessa Galloway, portrayed with haunting intensity by Sadie Sink. She is not a warrior in the traditional sense, nor a chosen one blessed by fate. She is something rarer, a stubborn dreamer born of dirt, drought, and the persistent hum of memory. Raised on a dying farm where her family once coaxed vegetables from poisoned earth using filtered water and hand-dug trenches, Odessa has known struggle as intimately as song. The farm, now little more than crumbling fences and yellowed crop rows, is haunted by the spirit of her father, Virgil Galloway, a musician and rebel who believed in the healing power of music even as the world cracked around him. Virgil's guitar, weathered and warped by time, is Odessa's last tangible link to him and the ideals he stood for. It isn't just an instrument, it's an heirloom wrapped in defiance, echoing with forgotten songs that once gave breath to broken hearts. Its strings are snapped, its body scarred, but in her mind, Odessa can still hear the lullabies he strummed under the dying stars, ballads of wildflowers and wind, freedom and firelight. To others, it's just a ruined relic, but to her, it is sacred, a talisman of hope, a bridge between the music of the past and the silence of the present. Odessa is no stranger to pain. Her mother, Calliope, now a shadow of her former self, speaks only in cryptic riddles and broken melodies, while the world beyond their collapsing homestead grows crueler by the hour. Still, there's fire in the girl's blood. With fiery red hair tangled by wind and soot, and eyes that have seen too much sorrow to remain naive, she carries herself like someone with nothing left to lose. Clad in scavenged leathers and patched wool, with boots worn thin from endless walking, Odessa doesn't just move through the world, she challenges it. She speaks little, listens deeply, and watches everything. Her silence is not emptiness, it is loaded with the weight of songs unspoken. Grief does not scream in Odessa's world. It settles like dust, heavy and constant, in every corner of her broken farmhouse, and in the air that sizzles with invisible poison. The death of Virgil Galloway is not just the loss of a father, it is the extinguishing of a guiding star, the silencing of the one voice that once dared to rise above the static of fear. He was more than a parent to her, he was a storyteller, a dissenter, a symbol of how truth could live inside a song. His melodies, strummed on a guitar that now exists only in her memory, once brought brief spells of warmth to cold nights and stirred quiet rebellion in those who heard them. But with his passing, something vital disappears from the world, something that Odessa knows must be reclaimed, no matter the cost. Virgil didn't die in peace. He died with injustice in his lungs and regret in his eyes, and Odessa was there to see it. In his final moments, he whispered of betrayal, of how his guitar, his soul made wood and string, had been taken from him, stolen by the soulless syndicates in Satellite City, a grotesque metropolis built on illusion and excess, protected by media control and corporate thugs. The guitar, he said, wasn't just his voice, it was his rebellion, his weapon against the rot. It once sang in underground halls and behind makeshift barricades where people still believed in freedom. But now, it sits caged in a glass vault in the highest tower of Satellite's elite, turned into a trophy by those who poisoned the earth and silenced the righteous. Odessa's vow is quiet but absolute. Kneeling at her father's grave, her hand brushing the parched soil, she promises not only to retrieve the guitar, but to restore it, to awaken the songs locked inside it, and to make the world hear them again. This is not a mission of sentimentality. It is the act of war wrapped in a daughter's grief. Her journey will not be easy. The road to Satellite is treacherous, littered with outlaws, roving scavengers, and rotted towns that speak only in whispers of the horrors inside the city's glowing skyline. She will have to risk her body, her voice, and her very soul to cross the distance. But that doesn't deter her, not when the strings of that guitar pull at her heart like phantom limbs, not when her father's memory calls to her in every gust of poisoned wind. In the depth of her loss, Odessa finds something unshakable. She does not carry a sword or a gun, she carries a promise, sharpened by sorrow and honed by love. And in a world where hope is a dangerous thing, that promise becomes the most radical act of all. The decision to leave is not made in haste. It is forged over restless nights and silent mornings, as Odessa stares across fields turned to dust, her father's grave still fresh beneath a crumbling oak tree. The farm, once alive with her parents' laughter and the rustle of wheat fields, is now only a skeleton of memory. Each room is haunted, the pantry filled with empty jars, the porch steps creaking like forgotten songs, and the barn where her father once tuned his guitar now echoing only wind. But what breaks her the most is the quiet collapse of her mother, Calliope, who once danced barefoot in kitchen light and hummed lullabies that turned walls into warmth. The plasma has seeped into her mind like fog into an old attic. Her speech, now fragmented and strange, loops in cryptic rhymes and unfinished verses, as if she exists half in memory, half in dream. Odessa watches her mother from the doorway one last time. Calliope sitting in her favorite chair, eyes fixed on something no one else can see, fingers tracing invisible strings in the air. She hums the beginnings of a melody Virgil once wrote, her voice soft and fractured like a broken music box, and it hits Odessa like a cold wind. Her mother will not be coming back from wherever she has gone inside herself. She is rooted here among the ghosts, and Odessa cannot take her, not into the wastes, not into Satellite, not into danger. This is a journey for the living, but more than that, it's a journey for the ones who still dare to fight. She kneels beside Calliope and presses her forehead gently to hers, whispering words of comfort neither of them fully believe. "I'll bring it home," she says, "not just the guitar, but the soul of what they once were." Her mother does not respond, except for a distant smile, as if some part of her remembers a brighter time. Odessa leaves a tin pendant around her mother's neck, a token shaped like a sunflower, forged from scraps by her father long ago. Then she turns, one hand gripping the leather strap of her father's empty guitar case, the other clutching a water-stained map etched with half-truths and legend. As she steps off the boundary line of the farm, the world changes. There are no fences here, no roads, only the cracked earth and the red mist of plasma swirling over dead grass like a living thing. She walks alone, the wind howling like wolves in mourning, the sky heavy with rust-colored clouds. Every step is a parting, every mile is a burial. But Odessa walks anyway, because this wasteland, brutal as it is the only path to redemption. She walks not only for herself, but for her family, her music, her promise, and the fragile belief that something beautiful can still be reclaimed from the ruins. The road beyond the farm is not a road at all, just scorched plains and half-buried ruins, stitched together by wind and rumor. Odessa moves through it like a ghost among shadows, alone but never truly unwatched. In the wastes, she discovers that survival does not come without consequence. The deeper she ventures into the no-man's land between broken towns and Satellite's looming silhouette, the more she begins to see the hidden truth of plasma, not just as poison, but as a force that has warped body, mind, and spirit in those too long exposed. Her first encounter comes in the form of a boy no older than 12, his skin cracked and glowing faintly at the joints, like fire beneath flesh. He begs for food, but refuses water, muttering in slurred poetry about the singing light in his veins. He's a plasma addict, a gleamer, as they're called, a generation raised in decay, who have turned to the very substance that's killing them for euphoria and escape. They heat fragments of raw plasma over scavenged tech coils, inhale its fumes, and fall into trances that show them impossible dreams: green forests, blue oceans, the earth before the fall. But those dreams come at a cost. Their bodies are fragile, their minds are fractured, and their loyalty lies not with truth or survival, but with the addiction that lets them forget, if only for a moment. Later, Odessa stumbles upon a caravan of nomads, twisted survivors who adapted to the wasteland like fungi growing from decay. Their skin is patched with makeshift filters, their eyes covered with welded visors. Some have grafted mechanical parts into their own flesh to compensate for limbs lost to rot. They live by strict barter codes, trading relics of the old world: batteries, songbooks, preserved seeds. They call themselves the Unspelled, a tribe that rejects names, believing that plasma erases all identity in the end. When Odessa offers a verse of an old song in exchange for water, they fall silent. A woman with gold-threaded dreads touches her cheek and says, "You carry a voice. Keep it safe. In the city, voices are currency," and curses. Each encounter chips away at Odessa's understanding of survival. These are not just madmen or monsters. They are people who've adapted to the end of the world in ways both grotesque and poetic. Some have become feral prophets, others chemical husks, still others wandering musicians who play instruments made from bone and wire, their songs warbled and strange. They remind her that survival in this world does not mean wholeness. It often means surrendering part of your soul to the ruin around you. But Odessa does not surrender. With every twisted figure she meets, she holds tighter to the promise of her father's guitar, not just as an object, but as a symbol of what has not yet been corrupted. And as she moves forward, she begins to realize, in a world warped by plasma, beauty is not something you find, it's something you fight for. Beyond the wasteland, where smoke towers pierce a rust-red sky and neon pulses like a heartbeat beneath a dying sun, lies Satellite City, a surreal metropolis cocooned in illusion, wealth, and rot. It is a place where truth is manufactured, desire is currency, and art is either sold or silenced. Amid its twisted skyline of hologram billboards and recycled steel palaces, Odessa Galloway enters not with a weapon, but with a name: Yuri Dervish, a whispered contact from an old nomad who once heard Virgil's songs. She finds him not in a stage hall or studio, but in a velvet-lit underground parlor known as the Crystal Mouth, a performance den cloaked in perfume smoke and sorrow. Yuri, portrayed with haunting grace by Kelvin Harrison Jr., is mid-performance when she sees him, draped in silk, barefoot on a glass stage, fingers dancing over a shimmering electric lute. The music is beautiful, aching, and wrong. It sounds like freedom, but feels like chains. His voice carries both truth and submission, a soul yearning for something more, but shaped by the brutal economy of pleasure and spectacle. Yuri is a musician, yes, but also a sex worker, a performer for hire in a city that devours passion and spits it back as product. He lives in a plush cell of fame, adored by patrons who never see him, only the illusion they pay for. His songs are scripted, his movements choreographed, his smiles bought by the hour. But beneath the surface, behind tired eyes rimmed in kohl and lips too often forced into seduction, lives a rebel spirit, one that once played beside Virgil Galloway in the forgotten music circles beneath Satellite sewers. Yuri remembers the old melodies, the ones that got their friends arrested, and he remembers Virgil's dream that a single song, sung honestly, could bring this city to its knees. At first, he's suspicious of Odessa, another outsider clinging to legend, another girl chasing ghosts. But when she recites the first line of a forgotten verse, one her father sang to her as a child, Yuri freezes. He stares at her as if seeing something impossible, the past alive again, wrapped in a dusty coat and fire-red hair. For the first time in years, his polished mask cracks. He laughs bitterly. "You're his? You really are." Their connection is not romantic. It is soul-deep, forged from pain, memory, and music. Yuri becomes her reluctant guide through the poisoned veins of satellite, showing her how to navigate its lies without being consumed. He teaches her how to perform, how to use her voice to distract, influence, and survive. But more than that, he reminds her what it means to feel in a place where feelings are outlawed. But Yuri is not free. He is owned, bound by contracts written in blood and silence. The syndicates that control the entertainment districts have eyes everywhere, and his rebellion, though buried, has not been forgotten. By helping Odessa, he risks everything: his career, his freedom, his life. Still, something in her, the raw honesty, the untamed belief in music's power, sparks the part of him that once believed in change. In Yuri Dervish, Odessa finds more than an ally. She finds the last ember of her father's revolution, flickering quietly behind glass, waiting for the wind of a new voice to breathe it back into flame. In the shadowed heart of Satellite City's glittering chaos, where the pulse of neon lights never dies and music thrums like a venomous heartbeat, reigns Neon Dion, a name whispered with a mix of awe and terror. Played with commanding presence by Regina Hall, Neon Dion is no ordinary club owner. She is the city's dark queen, a merciless puppeteer who wields power like a finely tuned instrument. Her club, the Vortex, is the apex of decadence and control, a swirling vortex of lust, betrayal, and whispered secrets where artists, addicts, and politicians alike are drawn in like moths to an electric flame. Neon Dion's presence is impossible to ignore. Draped in extravagant, shimmering costumes that catch and fracture light, her every movement is theatrical, deliberate, like a predator performing a deadly dance. Her voice, when she speaks, is silk laced with steel, both enticing and threatening, capable of drawing a room to silence or erupting it into chaos with a single word. She commands loyalty not through kindness, but through fear, seduction, and a cold calculation that keeps everyone in her orbit dependent and terrified. Artists like Yuri are her most valuable assets, carefully cultivated yet tightly chained by contracts, debts, and manipulation. They are her property, her entertainers, her weapons against any who dare oppose her reign. Neon Dion's power extends beyond the stage and into the corridors of Satellite's corrupt government and syndicates. She trades favors with crime lords and city officials, using her clubs as fronts for darker dealings, drug trafficking, espionage, and the suppression of dissent. Her smile can be disarming, but it is a mask carefully worn to hide the ruthless ambition beneath. She views Odessa's arrival as a threat. This young farm girl with fiery eyes and her father's legacy threatens to unravel the carefully constructed illusion Neon Dion has built. But she is also intrigued by Odessa's raw, unpolished talent and spirit, a wild card that could be either a valuable asset or a dangerous enemy. When Neon Dion and Odessa finally cross paths, it is a battle of wills cloaked in glitter and menace. Neon offers Odessa temptation, fame, safety, power, all at a price that the city's naive never see coming until it's too late. Her presence in the story is a reminder that in Satellite City, freedom is a commodity, and survival often means sacrificing your soul. Yet, beneath the glitter and cruelty, there are hints of Neon Dion's own past scars, making her more than a mere villain, but a tragic architect of a world where music and magic have been weaponized. In this toxic realm of light and shadow, Neon Dion is the storm before the silence, an indomitable force that Odessa must confront if she ever hopes to reclaim her father's stolen song. In the suffocating gloom of Satellite City, where every note seems manufactured and every melody calculated to pacify or provoke, an unexpected flame flickers to life between Odessa and Yuri, a bond forged in the pure, untamed essence of music. This connection is more than friendship. It is a sacred rebellion against a world that seeks to silence genuine expression. From the moment Odessa shares the fragile fragments of her father's songs, rough verses etched into memory and hope, Yuri's guarded heart begins to thaw, revealing a deep well of longing and defiance buried beneath years of performance and pain. Their early conversations are punctuated by music, small stolen moments where the harsh reality of the city fades into the background. In cramped, shadowed corners of the city's underground, Odessa plucks at the strings of her father's broken guitar, coaxing out notes that tremble with sorrow and strength. Yuri, in turn, hums melodies that carry echoes of forgotten protests, their voices weaving together in harmony that feels like a secret code against the oppressive powers that bind them. These shared moments are electric, each chord, each lyric, a spark striking flint against stone, igniting a wildfire of hope in their hearts. This spark is dangerous in Satellite. Music here is controlled, commodified, and weaponized by forces like Neon Dion. But Odessa and Yuri's collaboration is raw and unfiltered, carrying a purity that makes it subversive by nature. They experiment with sounds that blend old folk tunes with the harsh synthetic beats of the city, crafting songs that tell stories of loss, resistance, and dreams deferred. Their music becomes a form of communication, a whispered promise to those who listen that change is possible, that beneath the ash and plasma, life still beats stubbornly. As their bond grows, so does their understanding of the stakes. This is not just about reclaiming a stolen guitar or winning a personal battle, it's about awakening a city lulled into submission. The melodies they create are weapons disguised as beauty, coded messages that could inspire the scattered and broken to rise. Yuri teaches Odessa how to use her voice not only to sing but to move crowds, to bend moods, to reach souls. Odessa brings raw emotion, a fire born from loss and hope that electrifies their music. Together, they are planting seeds of rebellion through song, quiet at first, but growing louder with each performance, each secret gathering. In the face of neon lights and toxic skies, their music is a beacon, fragile yet defiant, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit and the hope that, even in the darkest times, a single spark can ignite a revolution. Satellite City stands as a breathtaking contradiction, a dazzling spectacle of neon lights, pulsating beats, and ceaseless movement, masking a festering wound beneath its glittering surface. To the outside world, it might appear as a thriving metropolis, a beacon of culture and progress amidst a poisoned planet. But this dazzling exterior is a meticulously constructed illusion, a fragile veneer that conceals the brutal reality of control, despair, and decay that permeates every corner. The city's endless nights are lit by fluorescent advertisements and holographic billboards, projecting visions of joy and success that ring hollow to those living beneath their glow. The streets pulse with music, sharp synthetic rhythms that dictate the city's heartbeat. Yet this music is a tool wielded by powerful syndicates, designed to distract and manipulate the masses. Performers like Yuri and countless others are trapped in cycles of forced performances, their creativity commodified and twisted into propaganda for those who pull the strings. These artists live under constant surveillance, their every move monitored by Neon Dion's enforcers and city agents, ensuring obedience through fear, manipulation, and sometimes brutal violence. Beneath the clubs and stages lies a darker underbelly, tunnels where the city's outcasts, plasma addicts, and rebels gather in desperate resistance or self-destruction. The air here is thick with the residue of toxins and broken dreams, a stark contrast to the glamorous facades above. The wealth that fuels the city's spectacle comes at a terrible cost: laborers exposed to plasma poisoning, families torn apart by addiction, and a society that sacrifices its most vulnerable for fleeting pleasure and power. Satellite's rulers maintain their grip not only through coercion, but by fostering a culture of mistrust and isolation. The inhabitants are encouraged to compete, to betray, to consume, cutting off the very connections that could foster true rebellion. The city is a shining hell, a paradox where beauty is weaponized, and joy is a currency bought with pain. For Odessa, Satellite is both a labyrinth and a battleground, its neon glow a constant reminder of what has been lost and what must be reclaimed. Her journey through this dystopian glitter house reveals not just the cost of survival, but the fragile sparks of humanity that persist even in the darkest places. It is here, amid the forced smiles and electric haze, that the seeds of revolution must be sown, through song, defiance, and the unyielding hope of a farm girl who refuses to let the world forget the meaning of beauty and freedom. After navigating the labyrinthine alleys and neon-lit labyrinths of Satellite City, Odessa finally uncovers the heart of the city's cultural decay. The possession of her father's cherished guitar by Plutonovich, the ultimate media tyrant. This guitar is far more than just an instrument. It is a relic of resistance, a symbol of lost beauty, freedom, and the soulful rebellion that once pulsed beneath the city's toxic surface. Once a beacon of her father Virgil Galloway's fight against oppression, the guitar's theft represents the silencing of a movement, a stolen legacy that now fuels the very machine Odessa is determined to dismantle. Plutonovich is the embodiment of Satellite's cold, mechanized heart. A figure shrouded in mystery and omnipresent influence, he controls the city's media empire with an iron fist hidden beneath a velvet glove. Through his vast networks of broadcasting towers and digital platforms, he shapes public perception, distorts truth, and suppresses any voice that threatens the status quo. His obsession with the guitar is not just about ownership, but domination. It is a trophy that signifies his control over the city's culture and a tool he uses to exploit and repurpose the art of resistance for profit and propaganda. When Odessa first lays eyes on the guitar, now encased in a reinforced glass display in Plutonovich's fortified media palace, it is a moment thick with heartbreak and resolve. The guitar, once weathered and scarred by her father's hands, gleams cold and sterile under artificial lights, stripped of its soul, just another commodity in a city that trades in illusions. But Odessa's connection to it is visceral. She can feel the echoes of her father's spirit humming beneath its surface, a call to reclaim what was lost. This discovery marks a pivotal moment in her journey. The guitar is no longer just a sentimental relic, it is a weapon of memory and hope, a key to unraveling the tyranny that grips Satellite. But taking it back will require more than courage. It demands infiltration into the heart of Plutonovich's empire, risking everything to ignite the spark of rebellion that the city so desperately needs. The lost guitar becomes the axis upon which Odessa's fate, and perhaps the city's, turns. It symbolizes the clash between art and control, freedom and oppression, the past's haunting power, and the future's fragile promise. In the chilling portrayal of Plutonovich, veteran actor Murray Bartlett delivers a performance steeped in unsettling calm and calculated menace. Plutonovich is not the typical villain who rages or threatens with brute force. Instead, he embodies a terrifyingly composed and cerebral antagonist whose power lies in subtlety and control. His voice is smooth and hypnotic, weaving through the city's media networks like a venomous lullaby, coaxing the masses into submission with promises of peace and entertainment while tightening the chains of oppression beneath the surface. Plutonovich's genius and horror lies in his ability to manipulate both music and media as tools of pacification and rewriting reality. Through endless broadcasts, carefully curated performances, and staged news, he controls the narrative of Satellite City, erasing inconvenient truths and manufacturing consent. His empire transforms art into propaganda, music into hypnotic patterns that dull critical thought, and memories into sanitized versions that serve his agenda. In this way, he wields the stolen guitar not as an artifact, but as a weapon, a symbol repurposed to feed the city's addiction to illusion. Murray Bartlett's Plutonovich is the face of this toxic machine, always impeccably dressed, his piercing gaze calm yet piercing, hinting at the ruthless intelligence beneath. His demeanor is that of a conductor orchestrating a symphony of control, pulling strings behind the scenes with a smile that never quite reaches his eyes. This portrayal gives the character an eerie presence that lingers long after he leaves the screen, a reminder that the deadliest enemies are often those who lull you into complacency rather than attack outright. Behind the scenes, Bartlett reportedly spent weeks studying how media moguls, dictators, and charismatic cult leaders wield influence with subtlety and charm, crafting a villain who feels both contemporary and timeless. His interactions with Odessa crackle with tension, a battle of wills between a young woman fueled by raw passion and a man who views human emotions as mere data points to be controlled. In Plutonovich, the film presents a stark warning that the greatest danger in a poisoned world may not be violence or mutation, but the slow, insidious rewriting of truth through the very culture we consume. Bartlett's portrayal transforms Plutonovich from a mere antagonist into the embodiment of a dystopian nightmare, where freedom is rewritten in quiet whispers and false harmonies. Amidst the harsh present of satellite cities' oppressive neon glow, the film breathes life into the past through poignant flashbacks that unfold like fragile shards of memory. These sequences offer viewers a glimpse into a world that once was, a time when Odessa's father, Virgil Galloway, wielded his guitar not just as an instrument, but as a beacon of hope, resistance, and connection. Unlike the dystopian decay that saturates the present, these moments are imbued with warmth, light, and the raw passion of a man determined to inspire change through music. The flashbacks are carefully crafted montages blending vibrant folk melodies, candid scenes of community gatherings, and intimate moments between Virgil and Odessa, revealing the deep bond they shared. We see Virgil's performances in open fields and underground venues, where his voice and guitar ripple through the crowd, stirring hearts and sparking courage among those who long to resist the creeping darkness. His music carries a powerful message, one that transcends mere entertainment, becoming an anthem for freedom and a call to arms against the spreading corruption and poison of plasma. These montages also reveal the gradual erosion of this world, how Virgil's influence became a threat to those in power, ultimately leading to his silencing. Scenes darken, tension tightens, and the joyous songs are replaced by moments of surveillance, intimidation, and eventual loss. The transition from light to shadow in these memories parallels the broader collapse of society, underscoring the devastating cost of truth and hope in a world dominated by control. Through these flashbacks, the audience gains a deeper understanding of Odessa's motivations, not just her desire to reclaim a guitar, but to revive the spirit of her father's legacy and the movement he inspired. These memories haunt her journey, fueling her determination and reminding her of the stakes involved. Reclaiming her father's voice means reigniting the flames of rebellion. Behind the scenes, the flashback sequences were filmed with a distinctly different color palette and cinematography style, warmer tones, softer focus, and natural lighting to sharply contrast the dystopian present. The filmmakers worked closely with Sadie Singh to capture the nuanced emotions in scenes where young Odessa witnesses her father's resilience and ultimate sacrifice, adding layers of emotional depth that resonate throughout the film. These moments of the past are not merely nostalgic, they are the film's heartbeat, grounding the narrative in a legacy of courage and reminding viewers that even in the darkest times, hope can be passed down like a song waiting to be sung again. In the shimmering yet suffocating world of Satellite City, fame is a double-edged sword, promising glittering lights and adoration while demanding the surrender of one's soul. This cruel bargain is painfully embodied in the character of Yuri Dervish, whose raw talent and charisma have caught the eye of powerful forces seeking to exploit him. Offered stardom on a silver platter, Yuri faces a stark choice: embrace the intoxicating allure of fame by pledging loyalty to the very system that perpetuates oppression, or risk everything by standing against the machinery that seeks to commodify his art and silence his voice. The allure of the spotlight is seductive: glamorous parties, endless audiences, wealth, and the promise of influence. Yet beneath this veneer lies a suffocating control: contracts that dictate performances, scripts that erase personal truth, and a constant presence of surveillance and manipulation. Yuri's journey highlights the devastating compromises artists often face in dystopian systems, where individual expression is sacrificed for mass consumption, and resistance is replaced with compliance disguised as success. Odessa's role becomes pivotal in this moral crossroad. Her unwavering belief in the power of authentic expression and her refusal to accept a gilded cage challenge Yuri's wavering resolve. She reminds him of the deeper purpose behind their music. Beyond the hollow glamour and the hypnotic neon lights, lies a truth worth fighting for. Through their conversations and shared moments, Odessa rekindles in Yuri the memory of what music should be, a force of liberation, connection, and courage, rather than a tool for control. This tension between temptation and integrity adds emotional depth to the film, revealing the personal sacrifices and internal battles faced by those who dare to resist. Yuri's struggle is not just external, but profoundly internal, a tug of war between survival and selfhood, between comfort and conviction. His relationship with Odessa serves as a beacon, guiding him away from the dangerous path of conformity and towards the uncertain but vital journey of rebellion. Behind the scenes, Kelvin Harrison Jr. approached this arc with a nuanced understanding of the psychological toll fame can exact, especially in toxic environments. His portrayal captures Yuri's vulnerability, ambition, and eventual awakening with a raw honesty that resonates deeply. The filmmakers intentionally contrasted Yuri's glamorous performances with private scenes of doubt and fear, emphasizing the hidden cost of his stardom. Ultimately, this theme underscores a broader commentary on the corrupting influence of power in dystopian societies and the resilience required to preserve one's identity amidst overwhelming pressure to conform. Yuri's story is a testament to the courage needed to reclaim authenticity in a world eager to rewrite it. In the shadowed depths of Satellite City's underworld, away from the blinding neon glare and the relentless noise of forced performances, Odessa and Yuri share a profoundly intimate moment that marks a turning point in both their relationship and the film's emotional journey. Their first duet, stripped down, raw, and acoustic, takes place in a hidden bunker, a secret sanctuary where music becomes a language of truth, vulnerability, and defiance. This scene is a stark departure from the city's usual synthetic soundscape, offering a rare breath of authenticity amid the pervasive artificiality. The stripped-back arrangement lets the pure tones of Odessa's weathered guitar mingle with Yuri's soulful voice, weaving a haunting melody that echoes with the weight of loss, hope, and unspoken dreams. The lyrics, simple yet profound, tell stories of survival and resistance, resonating deeply with their shared experiences and the broken world around them. The bunker itself is more than just a physical location. It symbolizes a refuge from control and deception, a place where creativity and emotion can flow freely without censorship or exploitation. The dim, flickering lights and worn walls imbue the space with a timeless quality, making it feel like a sacred ground where the past and future converge. As their voices intertwine, the scene captures the fragile yet fierce bond forming between them, two souls connected by a mutual longing to reclaim music's power as a weapon against oppression. From a cinematic perspective, the filmmakers employed intimate close-ups and subtle lighting shifts to highlight the vulnerability and growing trust between Odessa and Yuri. The performance is deliberately paced to allow pauses and silences that speak volumes, emphasizing the emotional undercurrents beneath the notes. Sadie Sink and Kelvin Harrison Jr. worked closely to infuse the scene with genuine chemistry, rehearsing extensively to make every glance, breath, and chord ring true. This duet becomes a metaphorical spark, igniting not just a personal connection, but the larger rebellion simmering beneath Satellite surface. It's a moment where music transcends entertainment, becoming an act of courage and a call to awaken those numbed by plasma and propaganda. The haunting beauty of this performance lingers long after the scene fades, reminding viewers of the indomitable spirit that persists even in the darkest dystopias. The haunting duet shared by Odessa and Yuri in the bunker does more than unite two voices, it plants the seeds of a revolution. Their music, raw and unfiltered, begins to ripple through the hidden veins of Satellite City's underground, carried by whispered conversations, secret gatherings, and hacked broadcasts. In a world suffocated by Plasma's poison and Plutonivich's manufactured illusions, their songs become an act of rebellion, a spark lighting the tinder of long-suppressed anger and hope among the city's weary citizens. This burgeoning rebellion is not immediate nor explosive. Instead, it grows organically, fed by the yearning of people who have been numbed by years of manipulation and control. The music revives forgotten memories of freedom and resistance, stirring emotions that the regime tried desperately to erase. It becomes a quiet but powerful force, an unspoken language of defiance connecting disparate groups, from plasma-addicted nomads and disenfranchised workers to artists and intellectuals silenced by fear. As the underground networks amplify Odessa and Yuri's songs, the atmosphere in Satellite City subtly shifts. Small acts of defiance multiply. Murals reappear in hidden alleys. People gather covertly to share stories, and secret concerts challenge the regime's strict control over cultural expression. The city's neon-lit facade begins to crack, revealing the deep unrest simmering beneath the surface. The filmmakers painstakingly depicted this gradual build-up through layered storytelling and visual cues, graffiti blossoming like wildfire across walls, underground radio signals pulsing through static, and fleeting but potent scenes of citizens exchanging knowing glances. The soundtrack incorporates fragments of Odessa and Yuri's music, spreading into everyday life, blending hope and tension in an atmospheric soundscape. Behind the scenes, the cast and crew worked to capture the palpable energy of this awakening. They consulted with activists and musicians who have used art to challenge oppressive regimes, drawing inspiration for how music can ignite social movements even in the darkest environments. This point in the narrative illustrates a universal truth that even in the most poisoned worlds, the human spirit's desire for freedom and truth cannot be extinguished. The rebellion brewing through music is a testament to resilience, reminding audiences that change often begins with a single voice brave enough to sing against the silence. As the rebellion quietly gains momentum, the oppressive machinery of Satellite City tightens its grip through its ruthless enforcers, none more dangerous than Neon Dion, the flamboyant yet merciless club owner who thrives on control and fear. In a tense and chilling confrontation, Neon Dion delivers a stark warning to Odessa. Stay away from Yuri or face consequences so brutal that the very mention of them casts a shadow over the city's underground. This threat isn't just a caution. It's a cold reminder of the violent price paid by those who dare defy the established order. Regina Hall's portrayal of Neon Dion is electric, combining charm with menace in a way that makes every word she utters feel like a razor's edge. Her warning scene crackles with tension. Neon Dion's eyes gleam with calculated cruelty, her voice smooth yet laced with poison. She embodies the toxic allure of power, using seduction and intimidation as interchangeable weapons to keep artists like Yuri tethered to her will. Dion's dominion is not just about control over nightlife and performances. It is a stranglehold on the souls of those who seek freedom through expression. The gravity of her threat shakes Odessa to her core. It forces her to confront the dangerous realities of the rebellion she is helping to ignite and the peril facing not just herself, but those she cares about. Yet, instead of backing down, this moment intensifies her resolve. The scene is crafted to highlight Odessa's courage in the face of overwhelming intimidation, marking a crucial step in her transformation from a hopeful farm girl to a fierce revolutionary. Visually, the filmmakers use stark contrasts of neon lights against deep shadows to reflect the duality of Neon Dion's world, glittering on the surface, but dripping with menace underneath. The setting of the encounter, a lavish but claustrophobic club filled with smoke and mirrors, reinforces the idea of false freedom, where glamour masks danger. Behind the scenes, Regina Hall reportedly collaborated closely with the director to balance Dion's flamboyance with her ruthless undertones, ensuring the character remains unpredictable and compelling. The threat she poses is more than physical. It's psychological warfare aimed at breaking spirits before fists or weapons come into play. This scene underscores one of the film's central tensions: the collision between oppressive power structures and the fragile sparks of rebellion. Neon Dion's warning isn't just to Odessa, it's a signal to the audience of the stakes involved when fighting against a system that uses fear as its fiercest weapon. In a heart-wrenching turn of events, Odessa and Yuri, fueled by hope and determination, attempt a daring escape from the suffocating grip of Satellite City. Their plan is simple yet fraught with risk: to break free from the city's neon prison and the control of tyrants like Plutonovich and Neon Dion. However, this desperate bid for freedom quickly unravels into chaos. As they navigate the city's shadowy backstreets and hidden tunnels, their movements are anticipated by those who wield power with ruthless precision. The ambush that follows is brutal and swift. The scene is filled with tension and frantic energy. Gunfire echoes through narrow alleys, desperate shouts pierce the heavy air, and the glowing signs of Satellite City flicker ominously, casting eerie shadows on the scene of betrayal. Yuri is violently seized by the city's enforcers, dragged away amidst the chaos, his fate suddenly uncertain and grim. Odessa, fighting fiercely to protect him, is gravely injured, her body bruised and bloodied, yet her spirit remains unbroken. This moment serves as a devastating blow to the fledgling rebellion and a powerful reminder of the costs exacted by a merciless regime. It is also a pivotal turning point for Odessa, forcing her into a deeper confrontation with loss, sacrifice, and the harsh realities of resistance. Her injury is not just physical, it symbolizes the pain and struggle inherent in fighting for a cause larger than oneself. Cinematically, the escape sequence is shot with a kinetic style. Quick cuts, shaky handheld cameras, and intense close-ups heighten the sense of urgency and danger. The contrast between the vibrant neon colors of the city and the grim violence of the ambush underscores the dystopian paradox, a world that dazzles on the surface but is steeped in cruelty underneath. Behind the scenes, Sadie Sink and Kelvin Harrison Jr. worked closely with the stunt coordinators and choreographers to portray the physicality and emotional weight of this scene authentically. The filmmakers also employed practical effects to enhance the rawness and immediacy of the confrontation, avoiding overly polished CGI to maintain a grounded and visceral feel. The failed escape deepens the narrative stakes, intensifies the emotional resonance, and propels Odessa onto a solitary path that will test her resilience, resourcefulness, and unwavering commitment to reclaiming her father's legacy and liberating a poisoned world. In the perilous world of Satellite City, trust is a fragile commodity, often bought and sold at a deadly price. Amid the escalating tension and looming threat to their rebellion, Odessa and Yuri's cause suffers a harsh blow when one of their closest allies, a character initially introduced as a quiet but loyal companion, betrays them by revealing their plans and whereabouts to Neon Dion's enforcers. This betrayal is not born out of malice alone, but from fear, desperation, and the crushing weight of survival in a city that punishes dissent with ruthless efficiency. The betrayal shatters the fragile sense of safety within the rebel circle, leading to Yuri's capture and Odessa's injury during the failed escape. The sting of treachery adds a bitter emotional layer to the story, highlighting the complex human realities behind resistance movements, where survival instincts can conflict painfully with ideals. This event underscores how oppressive systems like Satellite City breed paranoia and fracture communities, making solidarity both vital and precarious. Yet, the narrative does not paint this traitor as a mere villain. Instead, the film delves deeply into his internal conflict, portraying the psychological torment and guilt that weigh heavily on him after witnessing the consequences of his actions. His journey becomes one of redemption and awakening as he grapples with the devastating impact of his betrayal and the harsh truths of the regime he once feared to oppose. Driven by remorse and inspired by Odessa's unyielding spirit, he ultimately makes the courageous decision to defect from Neon Dion's shadow and join the rebels. This act of redemption brings a powerful message about the possibility of change, even in the darkest circumstances, and the importance of forgiveness and trust in rebuilding movements that challenge oppression. From a storytelling standpoint, this arc adds depth and nuance, illustrating that rebellion is not only fought on streets or through music, but also within hearts and minds. The film's writers intentionally crafted this character to reflect the moral ambiguities and human vulnerabilities that define resistance movements, avoiding simplistic good versus evil dichotomies. Behind the scenes, the actor portraying this ally invested significant time in exploring the character's psychology, working with the director to ensure his transformation felt authentic and compelling. The betrayal and eventual redemption arc were highlighted as key emotional beats, essential to grounding the film's high-stakes narrative in relatable human drama. Ultimately, this sequence reinforces a central theme of Odessa, that even amidst betrayal and fear, hope endures, and that resistance requires not just courage, but compassion and understanding. After enduring relentless hardship and fierce confrontations within the heart of Satellite City's oppressive regime, Odessa reaches a momentous milestone in her quest, the retrieval of her father's stolen guitar. This iconic instrument, once a vibrant symbol of hope, resistance, and the beauty of a freer past, now lies in her hands once again. But the victory is bittersweet. The guitar is battered, scarred, and missing several strings, a stark reminder of the violence and neglect it endured while in enemy hands. The guitar itself is more than just a musical instrument. It is a tangible link to Odessa's father and the ideals he embodied. Its worn wood and broken strings tell stories of battles fought in shadows, of hope nearly silenced but never fully extinguished. Holding the guitar, Odessa is reminded of the sacrifices made not only by her family, but by everyone who has suffered under the toxic rule of Satellite City. The damage to the guitar symbolizes the fractured state of their world, and the long road still ahead to repair both their spirits and their society. Cinematically, the moment of reclaiming the guitar is rendered with poignant reverence. The camera lingers on the close-up of Odessa's hands, tracing the guitar's worn contours, highlighting every scratch and missing string as if reading a history written in scars. Sadie Sink's expressive performance conveys a mixture of triumph, sorrow, and determination, capturing the complex emotions of reclaiming something precious that is no longer whole. Behind the scenes, the prop department crafted the guitar with meticulous detail, purposefully weathering it to reflect its symbolic weight and narrative significance. The guitar's design incorporated subtle nods to cultural motifs that resonate with themes of resistance and resilience, deepening its storytelling power. This reclamation scene stands as a metaphor for the broader fight underway in Odessa, the struggle to restore beauty, truth, and freedom in a world ravaged by toxicity and corruption. The damaged guitar is both a call to action and a promise. Though broken and battered, the spirit it represents is unbreakable, awaiting healing and renewal through Odessa's hands and voice. Captured and coerced by Plutonovich, Yuri finds himself thrust into the very spotlight that once promised stardom but now feels like a gilded cage. Forced to perform solo for the tyrannical media mogul and the masses he manipulates, Yuri faces a pivotal crossroads: succumb to the system's control or find a way to resist even under its gaze. With his spirit unbroken and the memory of his bond with Odessa fueling his courage, Yuri chooses the latter, transforming his performance into an act of subtle defiance. During the show, Yuri masterfully embeds a coded message of revolt within his music, a complex layering of lyrics, rhythms, and visual cues designed to evade the censors but resonate deeply with those yearning for freedom. The performance becomes a beacon of hope and a secret rallying cry for the oppressed citizens of Satellite City, communicating that resistance is alive and growing despite the regime's attempts to suppress it. This moment is electrifying both narratively and visually. The filmmakers use stark contrast between the glitzy, controlled stage environment and the underlying tension of rebellion simmering beneath the surface. Yuri's performance is carefully choreographed to blend captivating artistry with hidden symbolism, a rebellion in plain sight. The audience's mixed reactions, some entranced, others wary, mirror the precarious balance of fear and hope within the city. Calvin Harrison Jr.'s portrayal of Yuri during this act is nuanced and powerful, capturing the complexity of a performer who must mask his true intentions while reaching out to a silent but growing resistance. The scene is underscored by a haunting, evocative soundtrack that mirrors the tension between oppression and the yearning for freedom. Behind the scenes, the creative team worked meticulously to design the coded message, consulting with cryptographers and activists to ensure the symbolism would feel authentic and impactful. The choreography and musical composition were crafted to carry multiple layers of meaning, making this scene a standout example of resistance through art. Yuri's solo act highlights one of the film's core themes, that rebellion can take many forms, and that even within systems designed to control and silence, there are cracks where hope can flourish. His performance becomes a testament to the enduring power of music as a weapon against tyranny, inspiring viewers to recognize that acts of courage, big or small, can ripple outward to challenge oppression. In the climactic crescendo of Odessa, the narrative converges on a daring and electrifying act of rebellion. Odessa's infiltration of Plutonivich's heavily fortified palace during a high-profile live broadcast. This moment is charged with suspense and raw emotion, as Odessa steps onto the grand stage intended to glorify the regime's propaganda, and instead transforms it into a battlefield of truth and defiance. Against a backdrop of opulent excess and cold authoritarian control, she delivers a powerful, stripped-down ballad that lays bare the pain, hope, and unyielding spirit of a world suffocated by lies and oppression. Her performance is not just a musical act, it is a direct challenge to Plutonivich's carefully crafted narrative. The rawness of her voice and the simplicity of her guitar stand in stark contrast to the polished, manufactured spectacles typical of the palace. Each note is charged with the weight of personal loss, collective suffering, and the burning desire for freedom. Through her song, Odessa channels the memories of her father, the struggles of the plasma-addicted survivors, and the burgeoning resistance swelling beneath the city's glittering surface. The live broadcast, intended to reinforce control and submission, is hijacked in real time, turning the eyes and ears of satellite cities' populace toward a new message, one of awakening and hope. The cinematography captures this tension masterfully. Tight close-ups on Odessa's determined face, wide shots revealing the stunned reactions of the palace's elite, and sweeping views of the city streets where citizens watch and listen, heart-stirring in response. Sadie Sink's performance here is a tour de force, embodying vulnerability and fierce resolve simultaneously. The filmmakers employ minimalistic staging and lighting during the ballad to emphasize authenticity, allowing the raw emotion to resonate without distraction. The musical arrangement deliberately strips away any excess, spotlighting the power of Odessa's voice and the symbolic guitar she wields. Behind the scenes, this sequence involved extensive rehearsals and collaboration between the music department and Sadie Sink to ensure the performance felt both technically authentic and emotionally gripping. The song itself was crafted with the film's composer and lyricists to serve as a thematic anthem, encapsulating the film's core messages and emotional arcs. The final concert is more than a narrative climax. It is a cathartic release for both the characters and the audience, signaling the beginning of a new chapter where music becomes a weapon of liberation and Odessa emerges as a true beacon of resistance. It encapsulates the film's central theme. Even in the darkest dystopia, the human spirit's call for justice and beauty cannot be silenced. Odessa's defiant ballad during the final concert unleashes an unexpected and transformative force far beyond mere music. It becomes a catalyst that disrupts the very foundations of Satellite City's authoritarian control system. Her raw, haunting notes resonate through the palace's advanced sound and media networks, creating vibrations that interfere with the technological infrastructure Plutonovich relies upon to monitor, manipulate, and suppress the populace. As her voice pierces through layers of digital and mechanical control, glitches and malfunctions ripple across the city's surveillance cameras, propaganda screens, and communication devices. The omnipresent neon signs flicker erratically, and broadcast feeds stutter and cut out, breaking the seamless illusion of order and compliance that the regime has painstakingly constructed. This sonic disruption is symbolic, a musical rebellion that fractures the facade of control, laying bare the city's hidden fractures and vulnerabilities. More importantly, the power of her song triggers a flood of hidden truths to surface. Information that had been buried or censored by the regime suddenly leaks through hacked broadcasts and intercepted signals, exposing the corruption, lies, and brutal realities that the city's rulers have desperately tried to conceal. Citizens witness unfiltered images of suffering, resistance, and the toxic effects of plasma, shaking their conditioned beliefs and awakening dormant dissent. This moment of chaos is both literal and metaphorical. Odessa's music reverberates as a sonic weapon, shattering barriers and uniting fractured communities in shared awakening. The film's sound design here is masterful, layering the guitar's vibrations with electronic distortions and cascading feedback to convey the overwhelming impact on the city's systems. Visually, the filmmakers employ dynamic camera movements and disorienting effects to capture the sudden breakdown of the city's hyper-controlled environment. Behind the scenes, the sound team collaborated with engineers and musicians to realistically portray how sound waves could theoretically disrupt high-tech systems, blending science fiction with grounded creativity. Composer and sound designer worked hand in hand to weave Odessa's song into the city's heartbeat, making this sequence a powerful sensory experience that audiences feel viscerally. The power of sound in this scene underscores a central theme of the film. Art and expression are not just acts of beauty or defiance. They possess the capacity to expose truth, dismantle tyranny, and ignite collective courage. It is a reminder that even in a world poisoned by control and deception, the resonance of a single voice can shatter chains and awaken hope. In the film's heart-wrenching climax, Odessa makes the ultimate sacrifice to dismantle Plutonivich's tyrannical grip over Satellite City. Fully aware of the stakes and the personal cost, she chooses to confront the source of the city's control head-on. Its centralized power grid, a sprawling complex that channels energy and data to enforce Plutonivich's domination. Her decision is a testament to her unwavering commitment to the cause and the legacy of her father's resistance. As the tension reaches a fever pitch, Odessa infiltrates the power grid facility, a labyrinthine fortress pulsing with electricity and guarded by the regime's most loyal enforcers. The sequence is fraught with suspense and danger, underscored by rapid cuts and intense sound design that mirrors her pounding heartbeat and the city's humming energy. Armed only with her guitar and fierce resolve, she sets in motion a carefully planned explosion designed to cripple the city's oppressive infrastructure. The explosion that follows is both literal and symbolic, a fiery, violent rupture that physically destroys the machinery of control and metaphorically shatters the chains binding the city's people. The dazzling visuals of sparks, flames, and collapsing metal structures are juxtaposed with quieter, intimate moments, showing Odessa's serene acceptance and fierce determination. Her sacrifice is portrayed with emotional depth, emphasizing that true rebellion often demands profound personal loss. Sadie Singh delivers a compelling performance here, capturing the mix of pain, courage, and hope that defines this moment. The filmmakers use practical effects blended with CGI to create a visceral and believable explosion sequence, ensuring the scene's impact feels grounded yet epic. The fiery destruction cascades through the city's grid, triggering blackouts and chaos, but simultaneously freeing citizens from the regime's technological stranglehold. Behind the scenes, the explosion sequence was a major technical challenge, involving detailed planning to safely combine live pyrotechnics with digital effects. The creative team wanted to ensure the scene's intensity conveyed the gravity of Odessa's sacrifice without overshadowing its emotional resonance. Odessa's selfless act encapsulates the film's core message, that the fight for freedom and truth often demands immense courage and the willingness to give everything. Her sacrifice ignites a spark of hope and rebellion that promises a new dawn for the poisoned world, cementing her legacy as a symbol of resistance and resilience. In the poignant aftermath of Odessa's sacrifice, the narrative gently shifts focus to Yuri, who emerges as the torchbearer of her legacy and the unbroken spirit of resistance. Holding her father's battered yet powerful guitar, the very instrument that has become a symbol of hope, defiance, and the enduring beauty of truth, Yuri steps into the spotlight to deliver a final, deeply emotional track that resonates across the fractured city and beyond. This moment is rich with symbolism and emotional weight. Yuri's embrace of the guitar signifies more than just a musical passing of the torch. It represents the continuation of a fight that transcends individual sacrifice, reminding viewers that the spirit of rebellion lives on through shared stories and collective action. His performance is raw and heartfelt, blending sorrow for the loss of Odessa with fierce determination to honor her sacrifice by amplifying the message she died for. The film's cinematography during this scene is intimate and evocative, focusing on close-ups of Yuri's hands on the guitar strings, his expressive face, and the reactions of a diverse audience, ordinary people who have been inspired and awakened. The lighting shifts from the stark neon glows of Satellite City to softer, warmer hues, symbolizing the fragile but growing hope emerging from darkness. Kelvin Harrison Jr.'s portrayal is layered and soulful, capturing the complex emotions of grief, resolve, and hope. The song itself is composed to echo themes from Odessa's earlier performances, but with a fresh voice that hints at new beginnings and the power of unity. The music swells and soars, carrying the weight of history while pointing toward a hopeful future. Behind the scenes, the filmmakers worked closely with the actors and music directors to craft this scene as a culminating moment of emotional catharsis. The guitar used was the same detailed prop from earlier, now symbolically reborn through Yuri's hands, underscoring the cyclical nature of struggle and renewal. The closing moments of Odessa shift to a quieter, more hopeful tone, painting a vivid picture of renewal and transformation within the shattered remnants of Satellite City. As the oppressive power grid lies in ruins and Plutonivich's reign crumbles, the youth of the city, once passive consumers of manufactured culture, begin to reclaim their voices as active creators and visionaries. This resurgence marks the rekindling of a communal spirit that had long been suppressed under layers of control and fear. The film captures this revival through poignant scenes of young people gathering in open, reclaimed spaces, abandoned rooftops, crumbling theaters, and graffiti-splashed alleyways, where they share music, stories, and art in raw, unfiltered forms. These gatherings are vibrant and authentic, suffused with energy and the excitement of freedom rediscovered. No longer confined to the commodified and manipulated performances dictated by the regime, the youth express themselves freely, creating new sounds and narratives that reflect their lived experiences and hopes for a better future. Visually, the filmmakers contrast the harsh, neon-lit dystopia seen earlier with softer, natural lighting, using warm sunrises and flickering candlelight to symbolize rebirth and optimism. The camera lingers on faces filled with curiosity, determination, and joy, emphasizing the human capacity for resilience and renewal, even in the darkest circumstances. This hopeful ending is underscored by a subtle musical motif, a blend of Odessa's and Yuri's themes, that evolves into a communal anthem, symbolizing unity and collective empowerment. It's a quiet but powerful reminder that true change is rooted in the creative power of ordinary people, especially the young, who dare to dream and build anew. Behind the scenes, the filmmakers intentionally designed this sequence to contrast starkly with the film's earlier bleakness, incorporating real community musicians and artists to lend authenticity and hopefulness. The ending serves as a call to action for audiences, encouraging belief in the power of creativity as a force for social change. Ultimately, Odessa closes on a note of cautious optimism, affirming that even in a poisoned world, the human spirit's drive to create, connect, and resist can light the path toward renewal and liberation. Odessa is helmed by Jeremy Jasper, a visionary director celebrated for his distinctive approach to storytelling that combines gritty realism with a passionate embrace of music's transformative power. Jasper first gained widespread acclaim for Patty Cake Dollar, a film that spotlighted an underdog rapper's rise amid adversity, earning praise for its raw energy, authentic characters, and innovative use of music as a narrative force. His involvement in Odessa brings that same fierce spirit and deep understanding of musical storytelling to this dystopian saga. Jasper's direction infuses Odessa with an urgent emotional pulse, blending the stark bleakness of a poisoned world with moments of lyrical beauty and resilience. His ability to craft intimate character moments amidst a sprawling dystopian setting helps anchor the film's broader social commentary in deeply personal stakes. This balance is a hallmark of his style, portraying marginalized voices and rebellious creativity with empathy and grit. Behind the scenes, Jasper was heavily involved not only in directing performances but also collaborating closely with the music team and cinematographer to ensure that every frame and note served the film's themes. His background as a musician himself adds authenticity to the portrayal of Odessa and Yuri's musical journey, making their struggles and triumphs feel lived in and visceral. Critics and fans alike have noted how Jasper's signature underdog energy elevates Odessa, transforming what could have been a conventional dystopian tale into a vibrant, emotionally charged exploration of art as resistance. His direction encourages actors like Sadie Sink and Kelvin Harrison Jr. to deliver nuanced performances that resonate beyond the screen. Ultimately, Jeremy Jasper's role as director shapes Odessa into a bold and heartfelt film that challenges audiences to believe in the power of music and individual courage, even when the world seems darkest. Sadie Sink's portrayal of Odessa Galloway is a standout achievement in Odessa, marked by a profound and rigorous transformation that extended far beyond acting. To authentically embody a resilient farm girl turned revolutionary musician, Sink undertook months of intensive vocal and emotional training. This preparation was essential for delivering the film's demanding musical sequences with both technical skill and raw emotional power. Vocally, Sink worked closely with professional vocal coaches who specialized in genres ranging from folk and acoustic ballads to more experimental and dystopian-inflected sounds. The training involved developing breath control, expanding her vocal range, and mastering the subtle nuances required to convey vulnerability, defiance, and hope through song. Sink's dedication to singing live on set, rather than relying solely on pre-recorded tracks, added a layer of realism and immediacy to her performance, allowing her emotions to bleed into every note. Emotionally, Sink immersed herself in Odessa's backstory and psychological landscape, working with acting coaches and the director, Jeremy Jasper, to explore the character's grief, determination, and growing courage. This depth of preparation enabled her to portray Odessa's complex journey from a grieving daughter to a fearless symbol of resistance, capturing the nuances of internal struggle and outward rebellion. On set, Sink's commitment was evident in her willingness to perform physically demanding scenes, whether navigating harsh desert wastelands or intense confrontations in neon-lit cityscapes, all while maintaining the emotional intensity required for musical performances. Her transformation was supported by a close-knit creative team who nurtured her growth and ensured her musical and dramatic arcs felt seamless. Critics praised Sink's dual ability as an actress and singer, noting that her performances elevated Odessa from a dystopian thriller to a deeply affecting musical odyssey. Behind the scenes, her journey became a testament to the power of dedication and artistry, inspiring both cast and crew. Sadie Sink's transformation is central to the film's emotional impact, making Odessa's story not just believable but profoundly moving, a vivid example of how an actor's hard work can bring a complex character to life in ways that resonate long after the credits roll. The sonic landscape of Odessa is a vital pillar of its storytelling, crafted meticulously by composers Jeremy Jasper and Zachary Binnick. Their collaboration on the original soundtrack results in a rich and immersive auditory experience that perfectly mirrors the film's dystopian setting and emotional depth. Drawing from an eclectic palette that fuses emo americana, folk ballads, and grunge pop, the music weaves a haunting and anthemic vibe that both grounds the narrative and elevates its themes of resistance, loss, and hope. Jasper and Binnick's work goes beyond mere background score. It functions almost as a character in its own right. The soundtrack's raw, textured sound echoes the fragmented and poisoned world of Odessa, while its melodic undercurrents evoke the enduring beauty and resilience symbolized by the guitar. The folk elements tie the film back to Odessa's roots, a simple farm life and her father's legacy, while the grunge and emo influences capture the turbulent emotions of youth battling oppression. Their compositions carefully balance intimate acoustic moments, like Odessa and Yuri's duets in shadowy, hidden spaces, with bombastic, electrified tracks that underscore scenes of rebellion and chaos. The music's dynamic shifts reflect the characters' emotional journeys, ranging from fragile vulnerability to fierce defiance. Behind the scenes, Jasper and Binnick work closely with the director and actors, integrating the music deeply into the filming process. Sadie Sink and Kelvin Harrison Jr. were involved in rehearsing and recording the songs, ensuring that the performances felt organic and emotionally authentic. The use of live instruments, including the guitar that serves as a central symbol, was prioritized to maintain a raw human quality amidst the synthetic neon glow of Satellite City. The soundtrack was released alongside the film, gaining praise for its originality and emotional resonance. Fans of indie and alternative music found its blend of styles refreshing and powerful, with several tracks becoming emblematic of the film's core messages. Ultimately, Jasper and Binnick's music enriches Odessa by creating a soundscape that is both haunting and hopeful, a sonic embodiment of a world broken yet yearning to heal through the power of song. The haunting and immersive dystopian world of Odessa owes much of its authenticity and atmospheric power to its choice of filming locations, abandoned towns, and industrial zones across Croatia. These real-world settings provided a perfect canvas for director Jeremy Jasper's vision of a world ravaged by the toxic plasma, blending decayed beauty with stark desolation. Croatia's diverse landscapes offered the ideal combination of gritty urban decay and raw, natural wastelands. Filming in deserted factories, crumbling warehouses, and forgotten residential areas lent a tangible texture to Satellite City's neon-lit yet decaying heart, as well as the desolate wastelands that Odessa must cross on her journey. The filmmakers deliberately avoided heavy CGI for backgrounds, instead opting to capture the eerie silence, peeling paint, rusted metal, empire, and neon's oppressive nightclubs, and cracked concrete that speak volumes about a society in collapse. The industrial zones, with their labyrinthine corridors and towering, rusting machinery, became the perfect backdrop for scenes involving Plutonivich's media. Meanwhile, the abandoned towns, silent streets lined with empty buildings, evoked the loneliness and danger of a world abandoned to neglect and poison. Shooting in Croatia also brought logistical advantages. The country's versatile architecture and landscapes allowed for seamless transitions between the rural outskirts, where Odessa begins her journey, and the neon chaos of the city's center. Additionally, the local crews were praised for their expertise and adaptability, helping the production handle the complex demands of shooting a large-scale dystopian film on location. Behind the scenes, the production team took great care to preserve the authenticity of these locations, working closely with local authorities to maintain the integrity of the environments while adapting them for the film's futuristic yet broken aesthetic. This dedication to realism enriches the film's world building, making the dystopia feel lived in and plausible rather than generic or artificial. In sum, filming in Croatia was a deliberate and inspired choice that significantly contributed to Odessa's visual storytelling, grounding its imaginative future in the gritty textures of a real decaying world. One of the most striking visual elements in Odessa is its masterful use of neon aesthetics, a deliberate artistic choice that creates a vivid contrast between the film's harsh, poisoned wasteland and the deceptive allure of Satellite City. The filmmakers employed vibrant neon palettes and LED-filled sets to craft an environment bursting with artificial light, color, and spectacle. Yet underneath this dazzling veneer lies a crumbling society built on fear, control, and illusion. The neon glow saturates the city's night scenes, bathing characters and settings in electric blues, pinks, purples, and greens. This palette evokes a futuristic cyberpunk vibe, but is also steeped in symbolism. The bright, flashy colors represent the superficial glamour and false beauty promoted by those in power, especially figures like Neon Dion and Plutonovich, who use spectacle and seduction to mask the city's rot and oppression. The neon lights act like a shimmering cage, enticing inhabitants to remain entranced and compliant, even as the world outside decays. LED panels and luminous signage clutter every corner, from sprawling club interiors to the facades of media towers, creating claustrophobic spaces where light becomes a tool of manipulation. The contrast with the wasteland is stark. Outside the city limits, natural light is scarce, and the environment is barren, muted, and poisoned by plasma. The grim desolation of the outside world underscores how artificial and fragile the city's neon paradise truly is. From a production standpoint, the neon design involved cutting-edge lighting techniques, custom LED installations, and extensive collaboration between the director, cinematographer, and production designer. Each color and glow was carefully calibrated to evoke specific moods: seduction, menace, hope, or despair, enhancing the narrative without overwhelming it. The neon also serves as a storytelling device, highlighting shifts in tone and character arcs, such as the cold harshness of Plutonovich's media control or the rebellious vibrancy of underground music scenes. Ultimately, the neon aesthetics in Odessa are more than just eye candy. They are a powerful visual metaphor for the false promises of beauty and power in a world on the brink of collapse, emphasizing how appearances can be manipulated to conceal harsh truths. One of the defining creative choices in Odessa was the decision to record many of the film's musical performances live on set rather than relying solely on pre-recorded tracks. This approach was especially important for the final duet between Odessa and Yuri, where capturing the raw, unfiltered emotion was crucial to conveying the story's emotional climax. Recording live vocals presented a significant challenge, but ultimately resulted in a level of authenticity and intimacy that deeply resonated with audiences. Filming live meant that actors Sadie Sink and Kelvin Harrison Jr. had to perform both musically and dramatically in perfect sync, merging the physical demands of acting with the technical precision of singing. This required intense preparation, rehearsals, and a high level of stamina to deliver multiple takes without losing emotional intensity or vocal quality. The production team employed state-of-the-art on-set sound equipment and closely coordinated with sound engineers to ensure pristine audio capture amid the sometimes noisy and complex filming environments. Director Jeremy Jasper's background in music and performance was instrumental in facilitating these live takes, guiding the actors to channel their characters' emotions directly into their singing, thereby blending narrative and music seamlessly. The live recording process allowed for subtle, spontaneous moments, quivers in voice, breath catches, and dynamic shifts that pre-recorded vocals often lack, making the performances feel deeply human and immediate. The decision to record live also heightened the stakes on screen. Viewers witnessed not just a polished performance, but the characters' vulnerabilities, doubts, and fierce determination as they expressed themselves through music. This was especially potent in scenes where music acts as a form of rebellion and connection, emphasizing that the songs are not just entertainment, but acts of defiance and hope. Critics lauded this choice, noting how the live vocal takes added a layer of emotional truth to Odessa's musical sequences, setting the film apart from many other dystopian or musical productions. It created an immersive experience where the audience feels intimately connected to the characters' journeys, hearing every crack and passion in their voices. In summary, the live vocal recordings in Odessa elevated the film's emotional impact, turning music into a visceral language of resistance and identity that pulsates at the heart of the story. After making a strong impression at its premiere during the South by Southwest SSW Film Festival, Odessa transitioned smoothly into its digital release phase, premiering on March 20th, 2025. The film's availability on major streaming platforms, Hulu and Disney Plus, marked a pivotal moment for its accessibility, allowing a much broader audience to experience this unique blend of dystopian storytelling and musical rebellion from the comfort of their homes. The decision to release Odessa on both Hulu and Disney Plus was strategic, tapping into the platform's diverse subscriber bases and their reputations for curating bold, innovative content. Disney Plus brought the film to a family-friendly yet adventurous audience looking for fresh narratives, while Hulu's reputation for edgy, adult-oriented programming helped attract viewers who appreciate darker, more complex storytelling. This dual-platform release maximized Odessa's reach, bridging genres and demographics. Streaming also allowed the film to gain momentum beyond traditional theatrical runs, which can sometimes limit viewership for genre blending or experimental films. The film's mix of dystopia, musical elements, and character-driven drama resonated well with the streaming audience, sparking conversations on social media about its themes of resistance, identity, and artistic freedom. Fans and newcomers alike could revisit the powerful performances and haunting soundtrack on demand, deepening their connection with the story. Additionally, the accessibility of streaming platforms gave rise to fan communities who analyzed and celebrated the film's symbolism, music, and visual style. Odessa became more than just a movie, it evolved into a cultural moment, inspiring fan art, covers of its songs, and discussions about its portrayal of societal decay and hope. Behind the scenes, the distribution team worked closely with Hulu and Disney Plus to ensure a seamless launch, including promotional tie-ins, curated playlists featuring the film's soundtrack, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content that enriched viewers' appreciation. This multi-platform approach demonstrated the film's modern appeal and commitment to reaching a global, digitally connected audience. In essence, streaming on Hulu and Disney Plus extended Odessa's impact far beyond its festival debut, making it a widely accessible and culturally relevant musical journey for 2025 and beyond. Odessa leaves viewers with a powerful and lingering message about the resilience of the human spirit amid oppression and environmental collapse. Beyond its dystopian setting and musical rebellion, the film resonates as a timeless parable about hope, creativity, and the enduring power of art to challenge and transform even the darkest circumstances. Its fusion of gritty realism with hauntingly beautiful music creates an emotional landscape that stays with audiences long after the credits roll. Director Jeremy Jasper's visionary storytelling, combined with standout performances, especially Sadie Sink's intense portrayal of Odessa, crafts a narrative that feels both personal and epic. The film's layered themes encourage viewers to reflect on the cost of silence, the importance of memory, and the courage it takes to ignite change in a broken world. The visual and musical artistry work hand in hand to create a sensory experience that's immersive, provocative, and deeply human. Odessa also marks a significant step forward for dystopian cinema by centering music not just as a backdrop, but as a weapon of rebellion and a beacon of hope. Its cultural impact extends beyond entertainment, inspiring conversations about environmental decay, systemic control, and the ways individuals find strength through connection and expression. As the film continues to reach audiences through streaming platforms, its legacy grows, encouraging new generations to listen, resist, and create. Odessa ultimately stands as a testament to the transformative power of art and the unyielding hope that even in a poisoned world, a single voice can spark a revolution. Thanks for watching this deep dive into Odessa here on Real Talk Cinema. If you enjoyed the breakdown of the story, behind-the-scenes secrets, and the musical magic, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more in-depth movie explanations and facts. Drop a comment below to share your thoughts on Odessa or what film you want us to explore next. Until next time, keep watching, keep questioning, and keep loving cinema the way it deserves. Peace out! This final track encapsulates the film's ultimate message. Though one voice may fall silent, the song of resistance continues through those who dare to listen, learn, and carry it forward. Yuri's new voice promises that the fight for freedom, truth, and beauty is eternal. A legacy written not just in music but in the hearts of those who believe.